It is Thursday, July 23rd. We're going to take a look at the overall energy here. Let's see what's going on. Very excited about this overall energy. I am deep knowing. And flexible. Very good combination. This goes back to last week's this goes back to last weekend's reading there with the weekend reading. Sometimes it's not about having to explain things to people, and this goes back to their counsel. It's not about having to explain things to the client. It's because sometimes the mind is just not it's just not going to get it like that. It's about getting things wrapped up, getting things completed so that they can move out of the way like that, because of their mind, they hold up progress. So it is that, and that's what's being overridden so that things can move forward like that. And the good thing about it is one will be so happy that you're past this point, because now this person, when these people will not have anything to do with anything like that. So it is that. Now, there we go. Let's see. So new life, here and now. And it's about that, getting things to be, you have to simplify things for people. You can't explain things to them. You just have to say, look at things now, and then look at things, once this is completed, and that simplistic primary school that goes with the primary mind, it will work better than trying to explain something that is out of their scope of understanding. So that's being told to them as lightly as their ego needs to digest it, because I don't give a damn as long as they just go ahead and finish and sign everything. There we go. So this is something being wrapped up and everybody being on the same page. And they're wanting this. It's just they did not want it. They may not want it this way, but because this way deals with the raw facts and the raw metrics, and it doesn't allow their emotions and feelings, their opinions and thoughts, or any of that to continue, because that's why they weren't getting anything like that, because of them and their opinions and thoughts and their emotions and feelings, as opposed to the raw metrics and what's on the table and the reality like that. Sometimes reality bites, but it only bites those that feelings and emotions and thoughts and opinions have been allowed to run the show. So this is being wrapped up here, and so that things can move along with this, that goes along with the expansiveness of the package and packet that is being created, and that's where the big significance is, and that's where the attention and focus is. This being an addition to what things are becoming. So, I remember we're speaking about practical matters. So and we're talking about a very confined, when we're past talking about them and going ahead and get that wrapped up, because they're just one component in a very big thing here. Now, so getting them wrapped up, what the overall of what is happening is that it goes into neat. It'll go along with a already neat, well-positioned packet. And remember, speaking about, we're playing with a small amount of currency like that. Now is in a very rigid, confined, facts-based, per metrics that are highly detailed, and we know that type of math equates to a very refined, overall, full, prosperous movement like that, canceling everything out to zero. And because we're on that zero number as the basis and the foundation, because remember, there is taken from oneself and given to oneself. Okay, obviously it's going to go around back to you, so that is that equivalent of zero, and everything adding up well with that zero amount on the balance sheet. Okay, that's what we're doing here. Now let's see. And the flexible on this end is obviously the mathematical formalism, where that's where the very confined growth happens, a very prosperous growth within a very rigid, only meat and potatoes. All the other noise and all of that clutter is gone like that, so that things can be what they are gonna be now, like that. So it is that, but on this specific which these people are not important, so we're not giving them a stage or making them relevant, because they're just a mini part of something like that, and then they're gone and it's over with like that. But this flexible regarding them is that when people are not very intelligent, their mind is and they think that they have a flexible mind, and they can, but they don't have an agile mind. An agile mind is different than a flexible mind. An agile mind is within this framework, facts and metrics based. But people that are emotional based, they're not facts and metrics based, but they could think that they're flexible. They're not, because they're just like there's no, it's just, or they could be flexible or think they're flexible, but it doesn't come into anything. It's just wide open, as opposed to stringent and rigid. And then there's a different type of flexibility. There's a different type of, it's like, how it is, we're speaking of calculus like that, because this would be the mathematics that will be used in this type of equation here. Now, so, and you all that are investors that are watching, you know that some of you can apply this to the market, even though we're not speaking of the market here, but you can apply this to different aspects of the market. Obviously, it wouldn't go with every it wouldn't go with every account, and it wouldn't go with obviously it wouldn't go with every investment, and it wouldn't go with every mode of operating regarding those investments and what your actual goal is, because we're speaking of a very like it's small catchet of finances, and then we're speaking about not investments like the stock market is a very closed loop. Obviously, you all recognize this is a very closed loop like that, that is of contained growth that circles back, because it's like being one's own bank is when you're giving from yourself and then it comes back, and then the equation that we're doing this under, that I set it up under, it would be that closed loop of being one's bank, and then you're having that zero balance across the board with the ledger. Now, and because we're doing this with real estate, everybody knows that I have come from a background of real estate and commercial investments. I didn't want to go into infrastructure as we talk about the plumbing infrastructure, commercial. Then you talk about electrical infrastructure, and then we're talking about real estate. So, and I didn't want to, but because you have it in us like that, okay, but have it in us differently. And so we're talking about real estate now, but I'm not into it regarding people like that, where there's a multitude of ways to use it with investors. With real estate, it's like we're gonna buy this big condominium, and we're gonna rent it out or lease it out to people, or we're gonna buy these properties and we're gonna lease them out, or we're gonna fix them up and flip them. I'm not really into that with real estate. I'm more into and it's probably because I didn't come from that background. I don't come from that background. I come from where they hold on to it forever, like that. Okay, but that's not my mode of operating either. We go with what's natural for us and what comes from up to us naturally. And mine is more of about me, because I don't like dealing with people. That's not my mode of operating. And that's not what I've had to do. So we're talking, but I'm still with real estate. So we're speaking about 3 different estates that I have that are personal estates. Not personal property that you live in, but estates. And I have it set up where it's a closed loop system. Now, where we're working with, but so it's cash purchased. Is it properties I purchased with cash money? I don't believe in mortgages and all that stuff either. So is within my vault, let me take from these from these here personal properties and create a closed loop system within these 3, where so we borrowing from oneself and keeping it in that closed loop system, and seeing how one manages it. So it's the different type of investment. It's not an investment where you're looking for a return on the investment. So because it would not allow any external money to come in. It's like being one's own bank and seeing how that overall where it would head regarding is prosperity, like that. So we were talking about managing a threefold estate like that. Now, my initial thought was to have maybe 6 like that, but when you're speaking about not leasing it or anything like that, and not selling it or flipping it, but you're talking about personal property, how in the hell am I going to live in 6 houses at one damn time? Like that. So with 3 I could do. So it's that. So and I have it in a very confined closed loop system where I'm working with $35 million, so a very small amount of money. Now, which isn't anywhere near in the mathematics within that, with the mathematical formulas, is not anywhere near the purchase price or the carrying cost like that. It's just, so it would be a overly saturated closed loop, very rigid, very refined, very parametric, numerical factor based system that I'm functioning with here now. And that's what I'm trying to that's what's being completed now. And these types of external elements that I bring into it that have a that have a I feel that they have more of a, let's tie things up at the seams at bringing this in. So we're just so the foundation, and then we're gonna triple knit the seams. And why does it have to be triple knit? Well, because it's an overly saturated closed loop, very rigid and refined system that it doesn't have any external liquidity or external. You can't add anything external to it like that. You're just working with what's in it like that. You're working with that numerical factor, what's in it, and it won't go any type of external addition to it like that. It's like what this how this morphs like that. And even though it started with 19 million was the start, is become 35 million. Okay, and we're speaking about staying within this closed loop system of oversaturated liquidity. Why is it saturated liquid? Well, because it is paid, the states are paid for. Now, in the for me, the carrying cost was because I'm going to be living within them. This has finally got my attention. I've been out on my great adventure. I was like, what can I pull from that great adventure and bring it back with me like that I like from it? Well, the golf course views. I was out, in it's like in resorts with golf course views. I was like at lakeside views, things like, okay, this is what I got from an adventure. This is what I will carry back in with me. So instead of me being here, there, and there, okay, when the adventure start to be gone, it's just slow down. And I'm just now pay attention to the vault and what's in it. And I just just gonna take these three here, and then I'm gonna bring that, but I'm still with the, because I chose three. It's like I'll be 10 days here, 10 days here, and 10 days here, but within that closed knitness, the same way I was when I was on the adventure. Okay, I'm over here and I'm over here and I'm on top of this high rise and this is the view and this is the golf course and this blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I've kind of did the same thing, but the flip side regarding that'll be the norms of life. So that's what I take back into the the castle with me, like that. So that's what I've done, and I have it because I'm very detail oriented. So when my attention got on, okay, hell, the adventure is over because it's like it stopped. Okay, it parked me. I'm in park. Okay, so I just started focusing on what was in there, in the vault there, and what I wanted to, and what I wanted to work with. And when I looked in the vault, it was like I felt like, well, which is because I live life on my own terms. I do what I want to do, and I experience how I want to experience. I'm a very sheltered person. I'll be in the house, just decorating and doing all those types of things. Now, so when I and I prefer not to look in the vault. I prefer to have life as a very predictable norm. Now, and that's why I set this up so because it's going to be a very predictable norm. Okay. Like that. Okay. So, but when I looked in the vault, it's like, I felt, well, I feel like a person that owns a private beach, and the sand is the liquidity. Okay. And you know that when you're on the beach and you're playing in the sandbox, you're only like with this shovel and this sand. Shovel. Let me close this loop and focus on that there. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with this here and making it highly predictable, overly self-sustaining, because I don't want to have to deal with the technicalities of it once I start to be in my comfort of predictability. And then my focus is on other things like that. So that's what we're playing with here, a small segment of money that is, I guess it would be, I guess it wouldn't be what we call a traditional investment for those of you that are investors, because the focus is on the return on investment, because it's like a personal, like that. So, and I made podcasts about the market some years ago, about the stock market and how I invest, because for some reason I'm good at that too. I'm good at the stock market. The stock market is very fun. I spoke about that in some podcasts a few years ago. How that's a very fun and it's very attention getting. And because I've been on my adventure, my mind has not been focused on that. But when I get discompleted, my mind will be focused on something else. Because, because getting to completion is about, obviously, 3 estates, and it would be what completion looks like for me regarding going into how I want them set up, like with my staff and stuff like that, and the schedule that they're on, like that. I'm in that now, like the staff, the schedule, the day-to-day operations within their states, like my living, how I'm living like that, okay, and what's actually around me and how I want it outside the finances, how I'm waking up and this is there and this is there, like that. That's what we're on now. So that's what it is. And with this, going back to this here, the council hearing for the other party, and these people have been waiting to be paid. And sometimes people that aren't very intelligent, they can hold up money because their mind is fixated on something that's not going to happen, that's impossible. And that's when I come in and clear their mind with sober reality and direct communication that doesn't care about their feelings and thoughts and opinions. I give them that dose of reality that the people that depend on them for money can't give them. Like that. I give everybody that because I'm focused on what I'm doing, not focused on what's wrong with them, like that, and their thoughts and opinions and all of that. They can do that after I'm out, and they can go back to how they were, like that. So we're going to continue. This is working out very well here regarding this wrapping itself up. I'm going to continue with part 2. The link is in the description box below this video per usual. Bye.